Hey, nice thing. Oh, see, that's where that 170mm of travel comes in. Down the big chunky stuff like that. And then you just gotta let it go down here.
My name's Ard Rock, been a professional biking kit tester for nearly 25 years, and today, final day up at the Ard Rock Enduro on Focus Sam2 6.9. Absolute beast, 170mm travel, coil shock, nearly 27 kilos of pedals, but the good news is that means it hasn't blown over yet. So we're dropping to stage one, here with AD, one of the legendary marshals, and the rest of the sweeper crew. Going to take it steady because it's going to be greasy. We might be sweeping up riders. Just final time, do not come and ride these courses outside the event. They're only open for the event. Riding them outside the event will seriously jeopardise the future of the event, as it will piss off all the local landowners. So enter Ard Rock 2022 and we'll see you there. Let's ride.
So, top of the range of the Sam2. Coil shock at the rear. Big Fox. 38, 170mm on the front, factory. So, all the quality suspension. Alloy frame. They don't do a carbon bike. So just super tough. This is a medium, so relatively short, 450mm. Got a fair amount of seat post showing. It's only 410mm in the seat tube, so you know, even if you run a relatively short satellite, you still can get the longer reach if you want. The largest 480mm, 65-degree head angle, so again, not super steep, but 76-degree seat, stable enough. I mean, you can run this mullet doing a lot of switchbacky stuff. It has got a flip chip that lets you get 27.5 in the back of there. Can't tempt it. Got a more manoeuvrable bike, but that coil shock just eating that chunder. For this factory fork, but you know, it's a fork that needs some time spending on it. You've got the low and high speed adjustment, but you kind of need to know what you're doing to make the most of it. But when it's carrying speed through chunk like this, that's when that fold back end really works, really works. And it's a Bosch Performance CX line motor, so 85 Newton meters of torque, plenty of power there, and then you've got that run-on feature for climbs, which really helps on a bike as big as this. Just hike it over those little steps. But the controller's definitely looking a bit basic now compared to other brands, so looking forward to seeing them update that. And with no complaint about the Shimano XT brakes and rear mech. Brakes are amped up with the 203mm rotor front and rear for extra leverage, 12-speed gearing from that rear mech, but the cassette is actually SLX, and so is the chain, which is a bit cheeky on a flagship bike. And also the Samox cranks are a bit spindly on a bike that otherwise feels like it's totally ready to survive an earthquake. And the race face Chester bar is a bit low rent, and weirdly you get a KS dropper lever, even though the post is actually a Fox transfer factory. So I mean, I guess that means you've got the premium quality where it matters, but it's a bit of a weird one. And with 2.6 29er Magic Mary front and rear, not the fastest rolling vehicle by any stretch, but it's a super gravity on the back, so plenty of strength in there. That's always good to know when you're pounding a 27 kilo e-bike through the rocks. Little send, there we go. And the race face AR30 rims, I mean, they're okay, but they haven't got a reputation as the toughest rims around. They're relatively soft, but at least you get 32 spokes to spread the impact load on them. Whoa, can't remember. 27 kilos takes a bit of extra stopping. Shunts on a bit through corners. They do take some strength to go through these sections. Big bike like this, but sticks it ground really well in between. Come on, get that Mary in. off the drop. Woo! Come on then. Dead still. Windy as ever. As you thought, for kind of a park bike like this, it'd have gone a lot slacker. You know, you wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 63 really, rather than 65, but whee, nice big. Oh, see, that's where that 170mm travel comes in. Down the big chunky stuff like that. And then you just gotta let it go down here. It's a sign of how good this fold rear end is. 38's definitely having to work. But when you do get it dialed, it feels absolutely fantastic. Properly plush, bottomless feel, front and rear. There we go. Like I say, she's quite a short one, this one, so that's its advantage, to be fair. Has got that steering lock on it. I've certainly not found that to be an issue, even on these super tight switchback sections. Still plenty of steering lock left. It's a properly tough category 5 downhill rated frame. But the weird thing is, they've left the motor completely exposed underneath it, which I guess is great for cooling, but not so good if your front wheel's flinging rocks at it, or you're sumping out on log hops and rock rolls. And the only thing protecting that motor is a couple of bits of cosmetic plastic. There's no sump guard or anything, so it's definitely very exposed, considering that's obviously one of the expensive vulnerable parts of the bike. And while that big 625 watt hour power tube battery means plenty of energy to keep those big old tyres and hefty weight moving, the fact it's in kind of an open Bombay design frame means even though it locks into place for security, there's actually quite a lot of rattle if it's not adjusted right. And while axle chuck on the rear that lets you turn it mullet, the downside is it's completely unattached, so if you're not careful it just falls out and it can be easy to lose. And also, while that CIS stem looks neat on the bike in terms of tucking away all the cables and hoses, it's going to be a pest when you come to replace your headset bearings though, because you're going to have to unplug everything and route it back through. You can change headset spacers though, so still change bar height. Right, now we're into death zone from yesterday. It's looking a lot better. A lot more traction today. This was Tripod City yesterday. Just let it move around. There we go. Loads better. Cheers mate, that's those sleepers now. And with 2.6 29er Magic Marys front and rear, it does eat through the battery. And this has got the proper battery in it, so it's properly adjusted, which is why it's not rattling about like the other one. So that's a bit of rattle, having said that, but nowhere near as much as the other one. But for once, they haven't actually oversprung this shock. It's a 400 pound, which works out really well for me at 70 kilos with a spare battery in the pack, so should be about right for most riders on a medium, as long as you've not been on the pipe too much. That's the trouble with the coil, obviously you can't really adjust it to your weight apart from getting a different coil. So although it does make the bike really smooth and handle those big hits really well, there's obviously a trade-off in terms of adjustability. But it is a properly physical bike to ride. It's a big bike to muscle around. That stiff frame and that stiff chest of bar, they all take a toll physically. You know, I know about it. I've been riding this for a few hours now. It's a proper beast.
So this is it, end of the Ard Rock. Finally finished sweeping, all 7 stages, mix of this and the megawatt, so make sure you watch the nuke proof megawatt video, even though it's super quick and sketchy. And yeah, just want to say thanks very much to Focus for lending me the bike, thanks to Ard Rock for letting me film here. Like I say, do not ride these stages outside the event. It puts the whole future event in jeopardy because it pisses off the landowners. Massive thanks to Zero Cycling, my channel sponsors. Thanks to PEs, thanks to DMR, thanks to Crud as well. And thanks to my Patreon subscribers. If you really like what I'm doing, please get on Patreon to subscribe to the channel and you'll get exclusive.